I want to put something in perspective for you because I think when people hear archetype assessments, they picture something like a BuzzFeed quiz, 10 questions, a cute label, and they share it on Instagram. And I get that. The internet has trained us to expect that. That is not that. You've probably taken Myers-Briggs at some point. That gives you one of 16 types, or the Enneagrams that gives you one of nine. StrengthsFinders, that's like one of 34. These are useful tools. I'm not dismissing them, but they're designed to put you in a category, a box with a label on it. Being a 72 doesn't put you in a box. It maps your position across 72 archetypes. And that number of possible unique combinations that it produces, 572 trillion. This is built for AI. That's not a category. That's not a type. That is a fingerprint. There is no one else with your exact combination. And that matters because your brand is supposed to sound like you, not like a type or a category. Now, when you complete the assessment, you don't get a one-page summary with a few bullet points. You get a 30,000 plus word report. Let me put that in context for you. The average business book is about 50,000 words. Your identity report is more than half a book, and every single word is about you, how you think, how you lead, how you connect, what you value, what drains you, who you naturally attract, what your blind spots are, what makes your communication style yours and nobody else's. In fact, I'm going to give you a demo of exactly what that looks like. I'm going to pull up and share my report with you so that you can see the fullness of the system. So here goes my report. As you complete your assessment, this is where it takes you to. So this is the title for me. They give me the title of a revolutionary builder, and I'm creating these transformative systems through analytical precision and collaborative innovation. I think it's important that every single person has a different title in a line to declare what their focus is on. And then we have this anchor of the 1 in 572 trillion, and then the different domains in your archetype. And so if you scroll down, you further see what your narrative superpower is and what those abilities are as they come together. And we can click in and dig in to read this. I'm going to quickly keep going. You do have a 21-step integration journey that helps you to understand what your archetypes are and how to apply them to your daily life and practice and even artificial intelligence. And then what's really interesting is that we get this archetypal cast, which is the categories for each individual domain of your 3 archetypes. And so for me, I have the builder, I have the artisan, and I have the guardian for my structure. When it comes down to the legacy, I have the revolutionary, the alchemist, and the destroyer. And that just says I like to break things pretty much and put things back together. The balance is my analyst, the pure, and the philosopher. I like to observe things a lot. And then we have the social domains, which is the worker, the sensualist, and the romantic. Yes, I'm very romantic, though probably no one I know will agree with me. And so this is something that it's calling out the different unique variations of who you are. While there are the 72 different archetypes, we look at what the 3 in each individual domain are so that you have a balanced archetype profile to feed AI. And then what we do is we also, at each of these sections, they give you this overview that highlights the relationship, the symbiotic nature between all 3 archetypes that allows you to fully encompass them. And so one thing that we can do is at any given point, we can always click into an archetype and we can dig even further into it, looking at the full archetype library. So if I wanted to see all 12 of mine, it's going to call out my 12, my top 4. I also have the ability to look at all 72 of the archetypes, and then that way I can see what other people have, what friends, family, relationships, partners. You can also do that. And so you have the full library access to what the archetypes are. So we have the archetypes, and then we get down to this archetype statement, and this is the design to win. This is what you possess and your unique abilities that come together to set you up for success in life and business. And that's another thing that we feed AI. We then have your constellations, which just highlights the patterns. Your structure is the builder, analyst, revolutionary, worker. Again, every single profile is different and unique to the individual. Then we have this this integration magic section that is a quick overview to teach me and give me additional context on my capabilities, the integration experience, what they invite me to do, and then my journey forward. And then there's the extended core pattern that we have. And then we also have the transformation guide. And I won't dig into all of this, but I wanted to highlight a couple of things because there's additional 12 to 15 sections that are formulated to give you depth. Again, when you have your profile, you get to go up here and download this PDF or Markdown file. And I recommend Markdowns for any time that you use AI. And so we click on that file and we download and we have it accessible. And so we dig into the complete 12 archetype integrations, and we can see that there is the 4 domain deep dives. We see that there's a strength and shadow section, a decision framework and challenge navigation, as well as a brand expression and professional positioning. I'm going to quickly dig into this shadow and strength section. And this is important because under my structured domain, one of the big things is that I'm a builder. And what it highlights is that as a builder does, that means that when I am bored, I build. When I'm thinking of something, I'm building. I'm always in a state of building. Building is my sweet and happy spot. But it's important that not only does it know that, but it also knows the shadow of that. And that shadow means that I will also get stuck into this routine of being in a building state. And whenever I am scared of something, I will go build. And when I'm frustrated, I will go build. The build is the thing that gets me stuck. And I wanted to highlight that because that is another thing that AI is understanding. It's not going to recommend or anchor me to always building something. It's going to emanate from me and tell me exactly how do I operate. And so that shadow and the integration and the strength of every single archetype you have is important and is provided. Extra sections. I'm just going to quickly read these off because there's a 72 evolution system. There's the relationship strategy, the personal letter, the integration mastery. There's the brand examples and character references. There's the professional application and leadership, the development frameworks and evolution planning, the communication, the community integration and next steps, the complete integration summary, and then the brand revelation and complete vision. And when you dig into these, you kind of see everything about your profile that wraps it all up for you to go out there and conquer the world. You know, one of the really cool things that you can go ahead and save these things and you can always bookmark it. And what happens is that you now have this massive archetype profile, and each of these contribute to that 30,000 plus word profile of who you are. You then get an archetype manifesto that is anchored to you and is custom and unique and individual to you. And then there's all of these additional resources that you gain access to. I spent years building this system, and I'll tell you why I went this deep, because anything shallower doesn't work. I tried. I can't give AI a few adjectives and a tagline and expect it to know who you are. You need this level of precision. You need the kind of document that when AI reads it, there's no guessing who it's for. That's why the content comes out right. That's why people read their results and say, how did it know that about me? Because it's not guessing. It's not reflecting your assumptions back at you. It's mapping what's actually there. I like to say, know thyself, then teach AI. That's the sequence. And the knowing has to go this deep for it to actually work. But don't take my word for it. Next, I'm going to show you a live demo. Same person, same AI, same topic. One without the identity system, one with it. You'll see the difference in real time. No theory, just proof. That's next. I'm Kirk Perry. This is BNA 72, not magic, a mirror.